All right, here we are moving on into chapter 10. So, this is the last of those 4 chapters that I told you guys about after we came out of chapters 1 through 6, so that foundational information about the writing process and communication in general. 7, 8, 9, and 10 have been about different types of writing. Last week was negative, the week before that positive, and now we're moving into the last of those chapters, chapter 10, persuasive writing, and persuasive writing just in general, and getting people to do what you want them to do and answer the way you want. But of course, we also use persuasion in sales. It has been said that persuasion is a symbolic process in which communicators try to convince other people to change their attitudes or their behaviors regarding an issue through the transmission of a message in an atmosphere of free choice. So when you are able to communicate in a way that persuades people or that maneuvers people to change their attitudes or their behaviors, that's when we have persuasion going on. So there are 6 basic principles that they say direct human behavior: reciprocation, liking, commitment, social proof, authority, and scarcity. And if you can tap into any of those 6, then you can be effective at persuading people if you understand those human behaviors. There are some effective persuasion techniques listed here. Establishing credibility. People tend to believe and be affected by and be persuaded by people that have credibility. If I wanted to give a demonstration or a workshop on how to lose weight, and I look like I'm way overweight myself, I get up there and I'm, 100 pounds overweight, people are probably going to look at me like, well, you don't have a lot of credibility on how to lose weight because you're overweight. However, even at 100 pounds overweight, if I show a picture and I show that I've already lost 100 pounds and I'm on my last 100 pounds, now all of a sudden I have some credibility. And so if you can establish that credibility, then people tend to be persuaded by you easier. Tying in facts that will help and benefit, that can do so, give you some more leverage. Expecting and overcoming resistance, knowing, okay, this is what they're going to say, but if I can overcome that resistance, if I know why they're going to come against this and kind of have counteractions for that, I would have a little more power persuading. Making a reasonable but very specific request helps. Recognizing the power of loss and sharing solutions and being able to compromise. So we have this thing called AIDA, and if we use this little device to help us to remember when we're writing and trying to persuade, if we will stick with AIDA, or attention, interest, desire, and action, it will help us tremendously. So let's break that down a little bit more. And so the first step of AIDA is getting attention. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can gain the audience's attention. You can summarize the problem, and that could pull them in. You could make just an unexpected statement that kind of shocks them, and that could pull them in. Throw a benefit up immediately, like, oh, I could get that, or I could win back that much money, or I could do, get that much more business sales. And that would draw your reader in. Use a compliment. Everybody loves a compliment. Related facts, or maybe just a really good stimulating question. All of those are ways that we can gain attention. And then once we do that, we move on to the I, which is interest. So we want to then build interest for the audience. And so we can continue to use a compliment for that. We can continue to give facts. We can continue to ask questions that will kind of build that interest. We can use specific details. We can list or show different direct benefits. Or maybe even indirect benefits, but still it's going to be a benefit for them. And so these are ways that we can be able to gain some interest from the audience. And then once we go through attention for A, interest, building our interest, and I for our audience, then we go to D, which is desire. So then we want to elicit desire. We want to get them to the point where they want to do something, right? We want to get them to the point where they're wanting to commit. What's going to be our last thing is action. So we're at this point, we're trying to get them there. We're trying to get that desire built. And so we want to break down any resistance that might be there. We want to be able to counteract any kind of objections that they might have. We want to be able to counter argue any of the arguments that they're going to have. Think through all those what if scenarios that they may have. Hopefully you've thought through those scenarios. Show how competent you are and show them the value of if they do this, if what you're proposing, what's the value if they follow through with that. Um, and then finally, if we've grabbed their attention, we've created an interest. Now we've got them on the point where we've solicited and we've got this desire kindled in them. Now we can prompt them and move them to an action. And so when we're ready for that, then we can describe a specific request that we're wanting to make, or we can sound very confident. We want to make the action we're wanting them to take very easy. We can get our audience to a certain point and then say, okay, they're ready to buy. But if we make them jump through 50 hoops to buy our product because they've got to sign in, make an account, put in all this information, do all this before they can ever get to purchasing it, we could lose them. So we want to make it a very easy action to take. We want to offer incentives if we need to. Don't give them excuses. I know it's hard, but don't give them excuses, and repeat those main benefits if they go through with this action. We're going to use the exact same writing strategy and format that we've been writing, where we do pre-writing and then drafting and then proofing. And so the first part is pre-writing, and it's always the same, guys. It's always anticipating that audience and their reaction. We're thinking ahead. Why would that person... They're going to be asking themselves these questions. Why should I do this? What's in it for me? What's in it for you? Why are you asking me to do it? Who even really cares? And we got to think about the answers to those before we put our message together. We want to, again, gain attention. So in this case, when we're doing requests, like we're asking someone to do something for us or be a part of something, or maybe we're putting forth a claim, a direct claim like we talked about last week, or maybe we're wanting them to fix a complaint. And so we're complaining because we want them to do something for us. We still need to make sure we're gaining their attention first. Sometimes that's works best if we use indirect strategy, because if we just blurt out the request immediately, they just shut down. They're not going to listen to us. And so we would use indirect strategy, maybe begin with a problem, just describe that problem. You could do maybe an unexpected statement like we talked about, a compliment. There's a lot of different ways we can do that. Then, of course, we build our interest. We've already talked about that. I'm going to just kind of pause on each of these so you could take a picture if you wanted to. Obviously, though, you can always go back to these slides. I say it, I think, every lecture. These are listed under your study tools right at the bottom of each module. You click that, and then you'll find the slides there listed as well as flashcards. So building interest, still convincing the audience that the request that we're going to ask is reasonable, or that we're asking. Develop interest by using lots of facts, lots of examples, testimonials, statistics, that kind of thing. Tie-in benefits, that's always a big thing. And then moving on to eliciting that desire and reducing resistance to it, anticipating those questions that we were talking about, those what if scenarios, getting counter arguments together, always wanting to demonstrate our competence, our credibility, the company's competence and credibility, and we want to be unemotional, and seem very reasonable. And then, of course, we motivate to action like we mentioned earlier. Be very specific with our requests, spell out what we need done, give deadlines if we need to, exact dates if we need to, point out key benefits for doing this, be confident, but don't be pushy. It's exact same process, guys, when we're dealing with sales. So we're putting together a sales message, whether that's in print or if that's online. We're going to go through the exact same process. Pre-writing, where we're analyzing the audience and also analyzing our product or our service, what makes it special, what points do we want to emphasize when we're talking about this service or this product, how does it compare with other products like it, profile your audience, how will this product be effective to them, what kind of time will it save them, what do I want the audience to do, how do I want them to participate, do I want them to purchase something, do I want them to sign up for something, what is it exactly that I want to do. Then we move into, when we start drafting, we want to gain their attention, and here's the ways that we would do that, whether it's print or online. Describe the product's features, give testimonials, a lot of the same thing that we've been looking at. Again, more ways to gain attention. Then we build interest, describe the product in terms of what it does for that audience or for that reader. Show how the product or service saves them money. People love to think about the fact that they're saving money, how it gives them makes the job easier, it reduces their effort, improves their health. There's a lot of ways to build interest in sales. And then we want to elicit a desire, reduce the resistance to not want to do the action that we're going to request of them. Again, same things. We want good warranties, free samples, anything that we could do to build that desire. Again, credibility comes into play. If price is not a selling feature, describe it in small units so that it looks smaller if you want. And then, of course, we move to motivate it to an action. Close by repeating your main selling points, clear instructions on how to do what you want them to do, an incentive, a gift, offer what you can. You want to make it very easy, like I said earlier, for them to do. If it's an email, make sure you include an opportunity to opt out if necessary. And when we're writing an email for sales, when we put that together, a couple of things you want to focus on, really good subject lines, or put the important stuff first. Get to the point quick. You want to be short, sweet, and hard to beat. So above the fold. So before they ever have to unfold it and continue reading down, you should have already gotten to that important information. Very short but conversational, easy to read, convey how urgent you need them to take part of this or do this. Testimonials are always a good thing. We're not going to talk much about press releases. If there's anything specific on the test, there would possibly be one question. I don't even think there is, but if there is, I'll make sure that you guys know that during the review. So I'm not going to take a lot of time to go through press releases because I think that's something you can kind of cover on your own. All right, again, you can always get to these slides on your own. At end of the module, there is a place for study tools. Click on that and it will take you to your flashcards and your slides. Hopefully these help a little bit by just me kind of talking through them. And as always, if you have any questions, please.